interchangeable. It means the same thing, right? So I'm not suggesting that you start both at the same time, but whichever camp you're in, get that, master it. That would be one source of income, one source of traffic, and then at a later date you'd want to add the others. That way your long-term business goals is that you would have two sources of income coming in, a paid traffic source and then an organic, which is not free, right? By the way, it's also paid too on that. So with that, we'll get back to our William on here.
Hello. All right. Everybody get enough to eat and drink on Bulletproof Coffee? Can you hear me okay? Sounds a little bit different to me up here. It's weird. Much louder? Less louder. How about no? How about, there we go. You like that one? The movie trailer voice? Oh man. What's that guy's name? Used to do that? Vince LaFontaine or whatever? Something like that? Or Don LaFontaine. Was it Don LaFontaine? Yeah. What a guy. Okay, so positioning statements, where we were at is plumbing leads is all we do. You've probably dealt with lead providers that service all kinds of markets, but we only focus on plumbers. That's our whole business, right? And then here's where we have the positioning statements. Okay, so this is, think of this for a second. You called them or you emailed them or you dropped a voicemail to them, right? You need to be the one that leads the conversation. It's not a set rule, but it's a good idea. You don't want the other end of the call, like I said, to come back with another objection. You want to answer them all after the first one, right? With the 5 reasons of why someone should buy from you. So you kind of see how some of these pieces are starting to fit together in the conversation, where the 5 reasons now apply to being able to position yourself. So positioning is very important. So you use phrases like, here's how this works. Do you say it like, here's how this works? No, here's how this works. Let's do this. That's one of my favorites. That's actually from Grant Cardone. Let's do this. He says it way different. He said, let's do this, right? That's how, you guys know, that those of you who know Grant Cardone know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I really do recommend you check that channel out. It's good stuff there. You can learn a lot very quickly. And then let me ask you, how many times do you think lead providers, think of where your prospect's at mentally, how many times have they been asked something that's important about their business and what they deliver before someone's just trying to sell them an SEO service or SMS or ads in the newspaper, right? Whatever it is. How many times do you think someone said the phrase, let me ask you? Probably hardly ever. Maybe once. But they get hit so many times every day, they've already forgot about that. Like that, it's almost like it never happened, right? So very important positioning statements. And when you ask questions, who else asks questions? If you've got a problem, yeah, a doctor. I was going to say a health problem, right? If you've got a health problem, you go to a doctor. Doctor does what? He asks you questions. Where does it hurt? And you answer, right? All right. I'll try not to break the projector again. Urgency statements. So this is good. We've got to create urgency. Why? Because if you actually have a campaign running, and even if you don't, there are leads I can guarantee you every day in the area that you're targeting that are going to waste. And I say going to waste, meaning they're not finding the help they need. And you have the ability to turn that to the right people. Does that make sense? Steer them to the right people. So an urgency statement that I like to use, and I use several, but this is a good one. So I always say something to the effect of, whenever we expand into an area like Houston, we always take on 2 to 3 partners, because we know that we've, number one, got enough leads to do that, right? So I just tell them, because we know, number one, we've got enough leads to do that. And ultimately, number 2, we're in search of that one business that's going to be able to service all of those leads. So we're going to start with, so what does that do? That's positioning too, but more than positioning, it's urgency, right? Why is that urgency? Might not make the cut, but I didn't even have to say it, right? I'm not being sleazy about it. I'm not trying to sell him. I'm just telling him this is how we do business. When I parachute into Houston and I land, this is it. I'm going for 2 to 3 of them. Are you going to be one of those? And ultimately, are you going to be the guy or the gal that gets all the leads in Houston? Because ultimately, I'm looking for that one person that wants to grow with me. And this comes into some of the other statements, which is, which is long term, right? So closing questions, we'll get to that in a sec. Yes?
Do they ask you your source of the leads, where you get the leads from?
No, almost never do they ask me that. And that's another limiting belief. I see you guys nodding. You guys are like, oh shit, he's calling me on it. The interesting thing about that though, sometimes it does come up. And what I always do is not necessarily deflect, but answer the question in a way that gives them what they need to know and peace of mind. But also, like, why? Everybody remember the biblical story, Samson? Not to get all biblical on anybody, but Samson, right? The hair, he gave away his secret to Delilah. She cut his hair, and he lost all his strength, right? You don't have to give away the secret, right? And I say secret, but you don't have to tell people exactly step for step how you do what you do, right? In fact, I don't recommend you do it at all, because they're going to think you're going to lose a potential client that could have been really good because he thinks he could have gone and done it himself. When in reality, you've seen what goes into a campaign and you know better, right? He may be able to drive a phone call, but he's going to drive it for 20, 30, 40 bucks a lead, whereas you could get it way less than that, still charge him less than he would pay. But how is he going to know that if you're constantly having to battle that question? So how I handle that question, to come back to that, is I say something along the lines of, our leads are generated, they're exclusive live leads that are generated through paid traffic, okay? We've got some crack shots at a couple of different paid platforms out there. Did I say AdWords? No. Did I say Facebook? No. I didn't say anything. Paid traffic, paid platforms, and they're high quality because they're targeted to the keyword. Meaning, if I'm talking to a plumber, meaning if someone has a leaking toilet at 2 a.m., I'm going to get that call, and it's going to go straight to you. Want some proof? Here's some recordings. I go straight to the recordings. It's almost like the question he asked me wasn't even really relevant. I don't treat him like crap or her like crap, but I give them the answer that they were really looking for. Is this a quality lead? And here's proof, right? Because that's what he was looking for, is the proof. He didn't say that. He really doesn't want to know how you do it. I'll be honest. Business owners, they're so freaking busy trying to stay afloat or do this or do that. They really don't want it. But if you dangle a lollipop in front of a baby, they're gonna take it. So don't dangle the lollipop in front of them. Just say, yeah, we've got some lollipops and they're pretty awesome. No big deal. But never show them, right? Because as soon as you show them, they're gonna be like, oh, I want that. And they're gonna try it and you're gonna lose the potential client. So hopefully that answers that question. It's a very, just move straight past that into what am I looking for? Into the close, but also into the quality of the leads, the proof behind what you do, the quality. And it also could be a flag, an indicator, a red flag, that the passion may not be there enough. Because I'll tell you something, you could not even know what you're doing and you could get people to follow you, right? I know that sounds crazy, and I'm not suggesting you just blindly do stuff, but at that stage when you've got campaigns together, you know you can deliver leads, you're confident in everything else, it's just the close part hasn't happened. Maybe the passion's not there yet, right? Not fully. And so it might be something you want to visit or revisit. And that happens from time to time, right? Like I was pointing out with Marlon earlier, when it came to knowing the 5, it was a bit of a stumbling block, right? It happens. So always be brushing up on this stuff. Absolutely. So closing questions. Here we go. So we're looking for the one business that we're going to be able to work with for the next 30 years. Now, why would I say it like that? I'm sticking around. I'm long term. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not fly by night. And what does that set for the expectations for that relationship? Right? It's a big deal. What else is interesting about that is it also tells them that I expect certain things of them. Right? It's not just about me. It's also about their end of the 30 years. Right? And then when I say things like, let's grow, right? And when I say the kind of company that's passed down or sold, still going to be getting high quality leads from us, right? What's interesting about that is when you can do premium leads and you can grow with your client, so you can take your client from 1,000 to 2,000, from 2,000 to 3,000, right? And grow their revenues and grow how many leads they actually pull from you. That's a client that you end up keeping for life because you grew together. It's almost like, you know how you feel about your childhood friends? We grew up together, right? Imagine actually doing that in the business world with clients. That's a whole other ball game, right? And here you go. So here's another closing question. So let's do this, right? I always say it like that. You could probably do the Grant Cardone if you wanted to, but I say, so let's do this. Let's start at 10 leads. Is that a big deal? No, it's not. Somebody's like, yeah, it is. No, it's not, right? Let's start at 10 leads. 10 leads for $30 each. What do you say? That's like me saying, let's try Chinese tonight. What do you say? Right? I mean, it's the same concept of like what you would say to your significant other about dinner or something. And it's very no pressure. What do you say? Like this is and when you have the passion in place and then you say something like this, right? They're going to feel that and be like, this is worth a shot. This is the best guy I've heard so far. And he's got something I want. If it's real, that's awesome. But all I got to do is pay to play to find out, and it's going to cost me $300. I'd pay that for a Sunday edition of my local newspaper probably, right? Think about it. So that's how they're thinking. I've run ads in the newspaper before, and if they're not thinking like that, you can bring that up. But that's the point. You ever run an ad in the newspaper? Yeah, how much did that cost you? This right here is like high quality, exclusive, live phone calls, review dispute process. Did you get that when you posted a newspaper ad? I think so, yeah. All right. Remind them of what they're buying, right? Did you see how I didn't just do one point? I was boom, 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 right through them, right? Okay. Take the order over the phone. Get paid. This is a big one. How many people are scared to get credit card information, take money? Be honest, it's okay. I'm scared. That's why my hand's raised. I'm not doing that for you guys to see how high I can raise my hand. Right? It's a little intimidating. It can be, right? Am I the only one in the room besides this guy over here that feels that way? There's one in the back. Okay, so you guys are starting to come out and you're like, yeah, me too, man. It's like a support group in here. It's like, we're all okay. No, but seriously, it's a big deal when you take an order over the phone, because there's a lot of trust involved with that. It's someone's money, someone's livelihood, ultimately at the end of the day, right? And it's that exchange of value. You know what's great about this? It's all perspective. It's all perspective. Think of it like this. You're not shysting them out of that money, are you? Or are you? Yes or no? No. Okay. Based on the model that you're running, you're giving value in exchange for the money, right? You know you're going to be able to deliver on it. You should be confident in that, okay? Up to this point, you should be there. So all you have to do is facilitate this is the beginning of the relationship. I don't look at when I say hello to someone on the phone for the first time as the beginning of that relationship. That's the beginning of getting to understand if I even want to know you, and vice versa. Maybe you don't want to know me in terms of, sometimes it's just not a fit. I get that. But when it is, and you're at this point, it would be irresponsible of you as a business owner, providing what you can provide, to not get the order right then and there over the phone. You're not doing yourself a service. You're not doing your potential clients a service. You're not doing the people that you could have helped send to that client a service either. You're letting a lot of people down. That puts a lot of pressure in the right place, though. You guys see that? It's a little different when you think about it like that. So now you're talking about the difference between taking an order over the phone. By the way, what do you think the conversion rate is of, oh, I'll send you an invoice, or, oh, just send me an invoice and an email? It's low, right? It's there. It exists. So I'm not saying, again, it's a recommendation. I'm not saying you can't do it another way. I'm not gonna be, well, you need to do that. You know, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna make suggestions. Okay. All right. So this is what I do. I say, great, right? I said yes, or she said yes. What's your email address? I'm going to send over an invoice right now so we can get started. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to hold on the line while you take care of it. And then it's only going to take 24 to 48 hours to set up your account once we've got that paid. And we'll get those leads rolling in. Email address, okay, I just sent that over. Do you see it? I'm going to wait. Yeah. No? Okay, let me resend. Let me try another email address. Something, right? I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. Well, can we do this later? Listen, sir, ma'am, only take 5 minutes. Here's the deal. I know you want these leads. I want them to go to you. They got to go somewhere. It's only going to take us 24 to 48 hours to set up your account once we get you squared away. So we got to get you squared away, and we got to do it now. Okay, if you've got the 5 minutes, let's take care of it. Right? And then I get low. Does everybody feel how I got low on that? I made it very simple, very not a big deal, because they're probably, oh yeah, they're very, I'm too busy. I got stuff I got to get done, and I come back and I go low with it. I match them where they're at, and then I come back and I go low, right? Another Jordan Belfort. All right. There we go. Fear and reluctance. I have no idea why it's doing that. Question, yes, sir. Oh, we got a mic. Sorry.
At that point, you've sold the initial 10 leads.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do the next step where you're saying, coming up with what you're going to do on a weekly basis or a monthly basis?
There's a couple ways you can do that. That's a great question, by the way. You can do that manually. You can call them up and facilitate that yourself, or have your sales staff do it, however. Or you can use something called the client engagement sequence, which we will be covering in a little bit. So, and that pretty much does it for you, which is pretty cool. So fear and reluctance. Thank you for that question. Fear and reluctance. Understanding and working with fear. This is going to be some interesting stuff that we go through, and I'm going to cover this very briefly, but it's going to make a big impact. So fear comes from what? The unknown, right? Everybody follow that? We only fear what we don't understand, right? So, or know, as knowledge, right? So here's the only way to eliminate the fear, or at least reduce the fear enough to do something about it anyway, right? Because sometimes you're just never going to get rid of it, right? And in fact, a lot of people say you'll never, ever get rid of it. I'm okay with that. I've come to terms with that. You should too. You should too. The only way to eliminate is through understanding and knowing what the deal is. So there's two ways to knowledge with what we're doing here, okay? Number one, there's personal experience, which is just getting to it, feel it, do it anyway, right? Or I should say, you could do both of these, and I would recommend doing both of these. Learn from other people's experience and do it knowing the most likely outcome, which is why I love our community so much, is the success stories, right? Must be rolling blackouts in Bangkok. That's okay. It's the success stories. The success stories make a big difference. When you see 10 people and you're like, oh, this guy, and they're killing it, and it's like, this guy had a full-time job, and this guy was working 12, 16 hours a day, and this guy was, or this lady over here was a single mom with 5 kids, or whatever the stories are. Like, you're like, man, I could make that happen. Like, they made it happen. It's not necessarily enough, which is why you need to do through personal experience, right? But even if you only made a commitment to do just the next thing, just the one next thing, right? You're going to get to that point where it's like, man, I might as well just push the button, right? If you're the one on the phone. Now, I'm going to cover some stuff a little bit later where eventually you're not even going to have to be on the phone. But for now, you're going to need to be on the phone or have someone on the phone. Your choice, totally however you choose to do that, okay? But we got some stuff in the works. It's awesome. I can't wait to show you. I wish I could show you right now, but let me actually tell you what. Let me go on to the next slide.
Actually, it's gone off so far. You said, oh, somebody's playing with it.
Somebody playing with it or no?
Somebody coming right now. It's going on.
Maybe it's rebooting. Did it just reboot on its own the first time? Does anybody know? I just came back and it was magically on.
Smoking.
Hey, now it's green. Cool. I think I turned it on. Look at that. I did something. Oh, there it goes. Looks like it's, I see the bulb lit. Yeah, I see it. Okay, cool. There it is. Hey! Did somebody turn the lights on? Did everybody hear that? Yeah, I heard it over here too. I'm like, what is that? Okay. Hey. And we're back on point. So let's, we all know fear is based on not knowing or understanding something, right? We fear what we don't know or understand. So let's take a look at what we actually know right now. What do you say? Number one, we've got call recordings of several new people that are closing deals of exactly what you're selling, which is leads. And I'm talking to you. We have call recordings of people, everyday people, just like you. Some of you are on those call recordings. A few of you are in this room that are on those call recordings. And that means something, because it's one thing to say, oh, that William, he's such a smoothie, you know. I don't know if you would say that or not, but whatever it is you're saying about me behind, you know, when my ears burn, about how smooth I am on the phone, or whatever it is you think, or whatever it is that you perceive about me on the phone. I told you I have my ups and downs, right? I'm a human. What's interesting, though, is so is everybody else that we've got on recording, okay? And we've got a ton more recordings. I just haven't got up there yet. But here's the point. They're there. You can go and listen to these anytime and say, holy crap, like he or she bumbled their way through it. And you're not beating up on them or making fun of them, but you're like, if they can do that and get it, like make that sale, oh, like what am I doing? Like, right? Right? Okay. That's what I know. That's what drove you to make the sale. All right. So number two, you know that the businesses want the leads. You know how you know? Listen to the call recordings. Tell me, you listen to those call recordings in the members area, those of you who are members. And if you're not, I'll see what I can do about, I actually have some call recordings I can put in the Bangkok group, okay? So don't feel like by the way, if there's something you're like, hey, I want that, let me know. I'll see what I can do about getting it to you, okay? Because I want you to have what you need, right? But I want you to listen to these call recordings and tell me, you try and tell me that those business owners that are on the other end of the line with our members that are closing the business, that they don't want those leads. They want them, and they want them bad. Like you can literally hear in the silence where the member stops for a second and waits on them to process. You can actually hear their gears turning and thinking of how they're going to make this happen because they want the leads that bad, right? Pretty cool. And then number three, we all know you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So when you know these things, you know that there are people out there that members sitting right next to you in some cases, in this room, in this very room, that have done this, okay? And there's tons more that you haven't even heard yet that are doing this. And I'll make sure that you have access to it so that way you'll be able to listen to them, okay, if you don't already have access. You know that the business owners want the leads from listening to those recordings, and you know that if you don't take a shot, you're going to miss. Why would you not do something about that? right? By the way, it's good to be selfish in some areas, like what Chris was talking about this morning. This is not one of those areas to be selfish in, because the more you cry and get upset about why you can't get on the phone, there's someone out there who's got, which sounds like not a big deal, but it is a big deal if you've got cockroaches in your kitchen, right? And you could have helped that person. And that person, I won't say won't get help. They may get help by somebody else, but would they have gotten the best kind of help they could have gotten? Because I know if you implement what you have access to and what you're learning, that you can make that happen for them. But by choosing not to be on the phone, I can guarantee you, you just lost that person. And how many people have you done that to? I'm not going to shame you. I'm just using it as a motivator. Think about this for a second. How many people on a daily basis could you potentially let down by not doing your job, by not doing what your purpose is? To me, it's a purpose. That's where the passion comes from. It's serving those people, right? So keep that in mind. Like, that's what you need to know. If you don't know this, if you don't know these three things, you're probably not going to be convincing, because you yourself are not convinced. Does anybody in here have difficulty in believing? Show of hands. And it's okay. I'm not going to pick on you or beat you up or call you up front or call you names. I just want to walk you through some stuff. Maybe you might not understand something, or you want to understand something better. It's totally okay. Show of hands. Anybody? Mr. Sanjay, what's up? Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Microphone. Mike's coming. Thank you, Chris. Chris is my mic runner. I'm flattered. I'm honored. So I did cry.
In fact, like when I got acquainted with PP ads, etc., PP call, and before that I used to think that since I'm handling international business, like this will be like something like a walk through or cakewalk, like something. And then when I was going through the modules, the videos, and then understanding like this is a process by which I can go to the next level. And then again I got stuck. And frankly, like, I'm not trying to exaggerate or anything, but when I saw your closing us call in that Lauderdale, that video.
In the Lauderdale, yeah.
So I could understand. Oh, this is what I was wanting for. Maybe I am. Like technically, I'm getting overwhelmed. Like I'm not able to. Maybe I'm getting stuck and all those kind of things. But this will take me to the next step. And this was like what was really baffling me.
Well, good.
I mean, I was really stuck.
And now you're not?
No.
You know what to do?
Yes.
All right, man. Good. Good. Yeah, that's worthy of a clap. I like that. All right. Go forth and serve. And I don't know about you, but this is probably, again, part of where my passion comes from is serving. I know that I'll be taken care of through taking care of people. And so when you know that as just a fundamental fact of life, or when you've accepted that, when you serve, I believe you can be truly happy. You can wake up every day and I mean, you guys have probably even heard me. How many people heard me this morning say, when they said hey to me, I was like, did you see the Facebook post this morning? Where Agoric like locked down 2 clients? Nobody. Who was it I said that to? It was a few people I said that to. I wasn't trying to do that. It was just I was excited about it. Like I woke up to that. I'm like, oh, that's great. Like that's pretty cool to wake up and see you guys and gals doing that stuff, right? That's a big deal to me. All right, cool. So let's implement a little bit. Let's implement. Did you guys write down your 5 reasons why? 5 reasons why? Yes, no? Yes? Okay. If I really don't like saying role play. Somebody ruined that for me. I don't want to necessarily role play, but if there's any kind of questions about maybe objections that might come up or something that you might want to address, or maybe that have come up in previous conversations or that you think might, like you brought up proof, right? Someone else brought up premium lead pricing, right? Anything like that you want to talk about implementing? Mr. Mark, or Mr. Gannon, I should say.
Just generally, how can you, thank you, how can you guarantee, like you say to someone that we've got so many leads? I know it's all to do with the research and the keyword it's research, but how can you actually say that you've got so many leads that we can't handle?
That's where I test the market first, and I
Yeah.
know. Or I can rephrase the statement. That's a good question. Or I can rephrase the statement. If I haven't done that, I can still say, we've got leads in your area, let's start small. If I'm starting small, I'm not giving them 100 leads a month. I'm not giving them 100 leads a week. I'm giving them 10. 10 and 10 only. Let's see how it goes. And that they respond to very, very well. Good question. Yes, sir. And what's your name again, sir? Rob. And if I haven't met you yet, or if I don't know your name and you know I don't, feel free to tell me who you are. That way I can get to know you a little bit. I like that. I enjoy
Hi,
that.
yeah, just really a quick follow-up to what was being said then is when you do that research beforehand, what do you do with the leads that you get at that point? Say if you're researching and you've got 100 leads coming in.
This is one of the reasons why I recommend the affiliate offers to transition
Right.
into local clients.
Ah, right, I'm with you. So you
Because then I get a recording of what basically amounts to a local client taking an order, and they get to hear that over and over and over and over again,
Right, so
even
you
though
come
it's
in as
a
ring
campaign.
partner or
Yeah.
someone like that.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. And if you can't find that, then find someone who's a friend of yours that needs leads in that vertical, or find someone willing to just take some leads. And you know that that's just going to be a lost leader. Like you're just going to deliver the leads to them so that you can get the call recordings and then use those to sell from then on. Like that's okay. So it would be kind of like a free trial example, and then you would go straight into the paid, right? Sir? Am I the only one that smells that? Okay, I'm just making sure. It was not me. It was not me. Goodness. Okay. Any other questions before we get smelled out? No other questions? You sure? Yes, ma'am. What's your name? Allie? Nice to meet you.
Do you need them to sign a proposal?
Oh, I love that question. That's a good question. What do you guys think? Why? Okay, good answers. I'll give you my answer, which is pretty similar. So they've got it, but I want to explain it so that everybody understands. I'll get you in a sec. Think of this as, okay, so contracts and proposals, I look at it as anything north of mid 5 figures, so regional or national. Go, I wouldn't start there though either, right? A lot of people have sunk their companies by just going after the big deal as opposed to a bunch of local clients, right? And I've had some people who are in this room who have gone and served and gotten local clients, and it turns out that it wasn't really just one local client. It's like a guy who's got somebody in an office in 38 states. And it's like, shit, right? Like, didn't even know. And one that's, how many? 20 something, 15? I don't remember. Marlon? Locations? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, point is, a lot, more than one. And they didn't tell it right away, did they? Did they? They played it close to the chest. Why? Because they wanted to start small and see how it goes. That's where they were at. And so that's why when you say that and you meet them where they're already thinking, or where they want to be with you to see how it goes, that's why that makes that big a difference. So contracts, proposals are regional and national deals. Everything else, here's what I'll tell you. You have your finger on the switch of those leads, so you control the campaigns. I wouldn't run someone else's campaign. I would only run mine. I know some people in here or some people in our membership do run other campaigns. I don't recommend it. So you run your campaigns. You have full control over that. You've got your website. You've got full control over that. You can literally pause the ads, stop the calls instantly, okay? So overnight, you have the control. When you have the money up front, right, you have 100% control. You see what I'm saying? You're not waiting on money to get paid. You can flip the switch anytime. That puts you in a very powerful position, which comes with it some responsibility. But as long as you deliver the leads, you're good. Here's what's interesting about it. It makes it transactional, right? It's very transactional. The best way I can describe it is when you go to McDonald's, which please don't go to McDonald's. But if you've been to McDonald's or a fast food restaurant and you go up to the register and you look at the menu and they'll say you want a number one, what do you say to the person standing in front of you? I want a number one, right? That's pretty simple. And then what do they say back to you? No. Would you like fries with that? And you just say no. Okay, that's an upsell technique, but let's pretend you said no, and then what do they say? Huh? They give you the price. That'll be $7.36, please, or 50 million baht, whatever it is. I don't know the exchange rate exactly, but I'm kidding. But the idea is still the same, right? They're going to tell you the price, and then what? What's required of you? Got to lay down the money, right? Now, if you don't lay down the money, do you get the number one? Not without a lot of struggle, right? Right? You get that number one, right? That's the point. You don't get the food unless you lay the money down. Very transactional, almost, right? Very transactional. It's give the money, take the food. So it's start small, give the money, take the leads. You like it? We're always open. Come back for more, right? Re-up your account. Makes sense, right?
Essentially, a contract is the exchange of money in its most
in its basic form. Yeah. Exactly. Thank you. Say that again on the mic.
The exchange of money is a contract in its most fundamental form. So if you exchange 1 cent or 1 penny or 1 bar or whatever for a widget, you have got a contract.
That's
even
exactly
if it's
right.
In voice to
verbal.
voice.
Verbal.
Yeah. That's the word.
Yeah. Voice to voice. Even if it's voicemail dropped, right? Yeah, you get the point. So it's when you have all the control like that and you make it very transactional, is that an easy process or a hard process? It's easy. So you want to make it easy to do business with you, right? Yeah, there's a question. Rachel's got a question back there. It makes it easier for them to do business with you, which is what you want, right? In fact, it's so easy. We had one member. You guys, those of you who are, anybody listen to the last coaching call? Show of hands. Okay, a few of you. The rest of you didn't. We had one member who actually won a contest this past December, and two of the 5 clients he closed. 5 clients in 3 days, by the way, on his time off at the end of the year. And when I say end of the year, I mean 2 of those clients were closed on New Year's Eve. He's got a story that's phenomenal about one guy is in a freaking deer stand, and he's PayPaling. I guess the deer weren't out that day, but whatever it was, he PayPal'd him money from a deer stand on New Year's Eve. The other guy, his wife, God bless him, was making him run like a 20+ person New Year's Eve party, right? And he was in the middle of doing all that and still broke away to make the payment. Just like you would if, hey, I'm hungry, I'm going to go order a number one. Lay the money down, right? Get the number one, come back and eat it, right? That it's the same, just make it very transactional, and people it'll be so easy they'll do it in the middle of whatever they got going on. What's a deer stand? A deer, you know what a deer is? Okay. So a deer stand is a stand that's up in the tree. You can post a stand up in the tree, and then you climb up the tree to the stand and you wait for the deer. Yeah, it's for hunting. Yeah. Anyway, he was waiting. He was. Use the mic. Sorry, can't hear.
I was just saying, I'm glad he was on the phone doing PayPal payments instead. Then
I'm telling you, yeah, because
don't quit
your deer hunting job. Yeah.
Okay. This is Rachel. My question is around the concept of giving a stranger their credit card details over the telephone, or and I'm wondering, like, do you, to get that level of trust and confidence, do people start wanting to know your web address and check you out online and have a look at that, all that stuff?
Sometimes.
Or like, do you send them PayPal invoices so that they have some sort of buyer protection and can claim a refund if they need to? Or maybe that doesn't work for commercial to commercial, I don't know. But yeah, just wondering about the inspiring the confidence enough for them to give you the credit card details when they really maybe don't exactly know who you are, and especially if you're overseas, different accent, all that sort of thing.
Before I answer that question, let me ask you a question, okay? And I will answer your questions, okay?
I believe you. You have the most trust-inspiring voice on the planet, William.
Okay. Now that that's over, let me ask you this question, okay?
Sure. See, first buy-in. First affirmative.
Does that sound like, the questions you asked, does that sound like a them problem? When I say them, I mean your clients, potential clients, or is that a you problem?
I know that I have a lot of me problems, and
you know what,
this is one that, scares me. I would not give my credit card details over the phone. So me being paranoid and privacy and all the rest, but I would
what the great
expect that
news about that is, though?
Other people aren't like me. They're idiots, and they give their credit cards to strangers.
That's a benefit. But the good news for you is that if it's a you problem, you can fix it. You can't fix other people's problems half the time, right? Sometimes you can help people fix their own problems, but ultimately that's up to them. But when it's a you problem, you can fix it. So let me help you fix it. That's why I'm going to answer your question.
That's why I'm asking the question.
Okay. This is like
the wall about to fall in.
It's like the Twilight Zone over here with all this noise and smells and just like stuff going on. I don't know what's going on. It ain't me. That's all I know. So for your first question, people are not usually, and I say usually, I'm talking in generalities here. So the majority of people are okay to give credit card information, especially when you relay confidence, right? And you have something they want, right? Like, for example, a big brand new shiny MacBook Pro.
Wouldn't want it.
Right, but if you did.
Apple.
Right, it's Apple. But if you did, okay, so Windows Surface. whatever does it for you, right? So you go into the store or you go online even. Online is probably more unsecure than in a store, maybe even on something like that. And that's a brand like Apple and Windows, right? But most people by the millions don't feel that way, right? So don't let that get you down or interfere with your ability to take the money, right? But just because you choose to, for example, just because you choose to eat healthy and drink bulletproof coffee and do IF, right? Are you in the minority or majority? You're actually in the minority. That's okay. I say minority, it should be the majority. Most people should eat healthy and do IF and live a better life, right? But they don't. They choose not to. They choose to eat fat stuff. And I'm talking pretty much specifically U.S., okay? Just so you know. A lot of the rest of the world is actually not so bad. But it's getting there because all of our Western ways have expanded into other countries, and you know, like there's a Starbucks on every corner here in Bangkok. I couldn't believe it. That was interesting. But you get the point. So that answers that question, yes? Or no? It's okay.
Well, I'm still talking about, like, you're basically saying don't worry about it, ignore it. If, like,
I'm not saying
as long as you
it.
know you're not dodgy.
I'm saying
trust in yourself. That
absolutely
will work.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying.
What
and
I'm
if
hearing.
it comes, oh, sorry, Eric's got something. But if it comes up, right? Someone else has a concern about it, then you address it, right? And it's all based on how you feel about your integrity and yourself. And if you know you're not going to mess with somebody's numbers or do that, then that's what you say. Hey, I would never do that. Our company would never do that. Like, we value our clients. Yes, sir.
I was just, and to your question, I think it's not so much, or maybe or I could be misunderstanding, but it's not someone reading their credit card information to you over the phone. That's kind of dodgy by itself because I might not hear the number correctly. It doesn't go through. But while you're on the phone with them, you're actually sending them a PayPal invoice.
You could do that too.
So it's not you getting the information. It's actually you're actually validated because it's like a PayPal invoice or a FreshBooks or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's getting information in. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
So you can, I mean, yeah, for the people who are okay with credit card numbers, you can do things like Stripe. But CallZoo 2.0, you know, integrates with PayPal. So you can actually generate invoices straight from CallZoo 2.0 and just shoot them out while you're on the phone. But be on the phone, most importantly. Yes, sir.
Nathan, what was it? Like Strike or something you said?
Stripe.
Stripe.
Like
Is
a
that
like a Stripe
platform.
Yeah, it's a very good payment platform. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
Max.
So one suggestion to kind of make the getting payment process a little less sticky is if you give them the option of, so would you like to pay with PayPal or credit card over the phone?
Yeah, give them an option, A or B. Don't give them a yes or no option. Give them an A or B option. Absolutely. You don't say, how would you like to pay for that, unless you say Visa or MasterCard or PayPal or credit card. What you say is that whole thing, right? How would you like to pay for it? Visa or MasterCard. I always get that confused. Visa or MasterCard. It's major credit card or PayPal. But yeah, that's right. Any other questions? Thank you, Aiden. I appreciate it. What's going on? Mr. Scott, right, Scott?
Hi, I'm Scott. I'm a long-time listener, first-time speaker. I've always wanted to use that. Hey, I just wanted to share that I've actually had to ask for credit card details over the phone, and for me, this is a standard process, and I'll just need to get your credit card number from you. Are you comfortable with that?
Oh, that's a great idea. Ask them if they're cool with it.
And if they're not, they say no. Then you have a redundancy in place that for that person, you can then click into whatever it is you want to do, send the invoice. But if you're looking for the number, that works all the time. And basically, yeah, not a problem at all.
Well, by the way, we're talking about the exceptions to the rule, right? The rule is most people are not going to fall under this category, but when it does happen, there you go. There's a good way to solve it. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. That's a very good input. Can I repeat it? Yeah, sure. Basically, he's talking about having it in place where you ask them if they're comfortable taking credit card information over the phone. If they're not, you got PayPal or you got Stripe, right? And you can do it that way. Stripe would still actually, well, no, you can send invoices with Stripe as well. You don't have to take payment. But Stripe is cool because you can take payments on the phone and you can, there we go. And you can do it manually. You can do payments on the phone with manual entering, or you can do invoice, right? Or you can even have them go to a page, which is SSL secured. It's as secure a credit card purchase as you can get from like Amazon or any of the big boys. The way Stripe works is pretty cool, and they can punch in their own stuff. Boom, just like that. Pretty cool.
That works in Australia as well.
Yeah, works in Australia as well. Okay, cool. Where are we at? Q&A. Campaign duplication and scaling. That's what's next. You guys ready? Any other questions, or you guys want to see this? Okay, cool. I'm going to head to the screen to do this because we're going to go straight into watching me implement. So this is something you're going to watch, and then I'll field some Q&A, okay, about this process. So let's, and I hope I don't sit on these things. Let me, oh crap. Is the mic good now? The mic still good? Okay, good. All right. Oh, this mic is good, but I've got another one for the camera. Sorry about that. All right. Okay, so campaign duplication and scaling. Can anyone tell me where you can find it? What's that? The advanced training section. Okay, part 8. Yeah, there we go. All right, so why do I want to go there? Because I've got to download that PDF. All right, there it is, Battle Fort Lauderdale training. I've got to download this PDF that has the process map. So city clones process map. Everybody see that? Boom, there it is. All right, this tells me exactly what I need to do step by step. This is how simple we made it for you, right? Laid it all out for you. To the point where VAs can do this for you, right, Marlon? He's got two VAs that do this for him. He doesn't even do this anymore. It's a good thing to know who Marlon is, I'll tell you. All right, so the first thing you want to do is download all your keywords from the campaign to be duplicated. The reason I say to do that is because if you don't and you screw something up, right, you no longer have that keyword list unless you've already saved it. But it's just a good thing for redundancy to have those keywords, right? So always download them. How do you do that? Well, let's go to AdWords. We're going to select a campaign. Let's just do this one for now. And what I want to do is go to Keywords. And I'm going to select all. Right? Edit. Where's it at? Nope, maybe it's under Details. Nope. Crapola. Where's it at? Is it lower down? It's under. I thought it was under Edit. Yeah. There. Oh, there. Oh, yeah. I didn't scroll. Excuse me. That's what it was. Thank you very much. I thought I was going crazy, you guys. So download. See where it says download spreadsheet? That's where you would download your keywords. They would go straight to a spreadsheet. Now you've got all your keywords. Okay. All right. So what's the next step here? Let's take a look. We've got to duplicate the AdWords campaign. So how do we duplicate the campaign? Does anybody know how we duplicate the campaign? Anybody who knows, raise their hand and somebody will bring a mic to you. Chris Weiss has it. And then Gorick. I know Gorick knows. Gorick's like, I'll tell you.
You can do it two ways. You can obviously use AdWords Editor, which
AdWords
is
Editor.
very, very simple. It's probably simpler and quicker than this. Or you can just go along, highlight the campaign. You can literally do Control Paste, or highlight the campaign and use Edit, and it will duplicate. It takes a lot longer if you do it on the browser than it does if you use AdWords Editor.
That's exactly right. Okay, so let's cover those real quick. Basically, what Chris Weiss said was correct. You can use the AdWords Editor, which we'll cover in a second, or you can do it the manual way, which is inside the AdWords platform. So once we we'll come out of here, we'll go to campaigns, and what we'll do is we'll actually select a campaign. So campaigns tab. There's the campaign we want to duplicate. And I don't have to click on edit. I could just use the hotkeys, Control C, Control V. But I'm just showing this so that you know both ways to do it inside the platform, okay? So basically you would copy the campaign and then you would paste. Now, it'll pop up and it will take some time, especially the more keywords you have, you're right. Google AdWords does kind of put a lower priority on duplicating a campaign. The good news is it's simple to do it this way, and if you're not necessarily worried about the time, like you're going to do it and then go to sleep, that's kind of cool. It doesn't take usually hours and hours. It probably takes maybe, 20 minutes, usually, about 20, 30 minutes. The cool thing is while that's working, you can be doing other stuff. So it can actually, you can hit the run in the background button, and it'll just run in the background, and when it's duplicated, it's duplicated. Nice and easy. So that works out well. The AdWords editor, let me pull that up real quick. Well, I say real quick, but a new version of the editor, restart and update now. Awesome. Okay. All right, so while that's going, I'm just going to move on to the next step and come back to that, okay? Adjusting settings in the new AdWords campaign. So once we have the new AdWords campaign duplicated, we want to change the old locations to the new locations. What do I mean by that? Well, if we're duplicating a campaign from Houston to San Antonio, we need to change the locations inside the AdWords campaign settings, right? You can do this, by the way, under all settings. This is how I prefer to do it, or locations. You can do it there too, but I like all settings. Actually, we should have selected a campaign. Let me go back. So settings under one campaign. There's all the locations. We just click edit. and you would change them all out from Houston to San Antonio in this example. Yes, sir. We've got a mic coming. Yep.
With locations and targeting, is it a conflict if you use zip codes and the city name in the same set of locations?
Is
So
it
if
a
you have
conflict
like
if you use
7
the-
zip codes down there and then put the city as well, it
It's
kind
not
of
a
overlaps on the
conflict.
top.
It does overlap, but it
And
doesn't conflict.
No confliction. It's just belt and braces.
In fact, it actually helps because sometimes targeting's weird. Sometimes targeting will go just by the city limit, and then a zip code is actually sometimes more than the city limit in certain areas.
Exactly,
right?
exactly
And
what
so
I was
you'll
saying.
get more exposure.
And also, when you look at a lot of websites of companies in the US, or you talk to business owners, a lot of them talk about the county they cover more than the city. Or they
So-
talk about they cover the 3 counties area, the tri-counties
The
area.
tri-county area.
So that sort of a comment's quite normal. Would you therefore target by the county? Or would you
Absolutely.
stick to the guns that say my campaign covers X, Y, and Z and anything else is extra?
What I like to do is get as much of a service area as I can. For major metropolitan areas, you might need to break that up into like half and half or quarters, depending on the size of the company. But the idea is, you probably for a city like Houston or San Antonio, you probably don't want a one-man shop. You know what I mean? You want a company that's got 5 to 10 trucks and can do the whole friggin' city. You know what I mean? And when you have 2 to 3 of those kind of clients, one of them's going to work out, take all your leads, and you're going to be at 5-10 grand a month with that company, which is awesome, right? Okay. Discard. Okay, cool. So how do we duplicate a campaign inside of AdWords Editor, right? So this is a campaign. You can see I'm under Miss Jean's account just for fun, because she's not doing anything with it right now. Does everybody see the copy? Okay. So I would copy and then paste into, and I would just paste into her account. That's the account level, right? So when I select the account level and just paste into, which I didn't copy it, but that's where I would paste the copy into. And there goes the campaign. And the reason it's so easy is because all I'd have to do is hit post. The campaign is instantly loaded into the platform a lot faster than the first way I just showed you. It's almost instantaneous. And then I can go into the platform, go straight into the next steps, which would be where we're at now, which is the locations, editing the locations. And again, you can edit them here in all settings, which is what I prefer, or you can come in here and add locations. Okay, all right. What's next on the list? Clear all bid adjustments. Okay, so this is where we go into the dimensions data. We clear out all the bid adjustments. We also do it under locations and add schedule. So if I have bid adjustments for, like, see here, bid adjustment 15%, 15%. So if I'm going into a new vertical or a new location, I don't know if one of these locations is going to pull better than some others, right? And so locations is going to be starting from scratch anyway, but when you go to add schedule, I don't know if people in Houston stay up as late as people in Las Vegas. Follow me? They don't, by the way, right? You're like, oh shit, that makes sense. Like, people in Vegas party out. I get it. It's not the same. And so you don't want bid adjustments on, you can see here, certain times and certain days. You don't want that on a brand new campaign. The cool thing is you'll still be profitable pretty much out of the gate, or pretty close to, when you duplicate a campaign, even with no bid adjustments and none of that. The reason why is because you have great keywords and you've got them dialed in on awesome pages out of the gate. You follow? That's what gets you a good jump start in a new area. And then you build on that. That's why you go after 2 to 3 clients, so that you don't have to keep stopping and starting your campaigns, okay? All right. Bid adjustments cleared. Delete all keywords from new campaign. So delete all keywords from new campaign. So if you've got location-based keywords, which you shouldn't have location-based keywords, you should only use location-based settings. Location-based keywords are an absolute last resort. And once you've done that, you want to change over all the keywords. If you're going to keep the location-based keywords, okay, I'm not going to fight you on that. I just say change them over to the new location. So if you've got pest control Houston, Again, don't recommend that, but if you had it, then you would say Pest Control San Antonio. And one of the cool things about the editor is you can actually change that very easily. You can do searches. So let me show you what I'm talking about. If you go into keywords, you can see here. So what I can do is I can actually see the replace text. All I did was right click on inside of the keywords of this campaign, and I can actually replace text, but I would want to select all, right? And then replace North Carolina and South Carolina with Texas or whatever it is, right? The new location. So that's how that works. It changes all your keywords like that. Pretty cool. And then you just post the changes. And so it takes a little bit of finesse, but not a lot to make that happen. Yes, sir.
Can you copy from one account to another account? This will get downloadable on a spreadsheet.
I'm pretty sure you need to download it on a spreadsheet and then load it up to the new account. Yeah. So going from one account to another will be a little bit more challenging. Yeah. But inside of one account, going from one campaign to the next, very, very straightforward. Very straightforward. Good question. All right. So let's see. We got to duplicate the ugly site for the new campaign. So duplicating the ugly site, if we were to come in and take a look at the ugly site, this is my ugly site. Still pretty ugly. We click on pages, and you can see for the pest control example, everybody see the duplicate this as I mouse over each page? That's how easy it is, duplicating a page, right? You would add your location if you wanted to in here to get it more keyword specific or targeted, I should say. So bed bug control Houston, bed bug control San Antonio. That'll help with your location, but it's not necessary. You can put it in just the text of the page, okay? The cool thing about duplicating also is that, bless you, is that you also have the Google code, the website code, so you don't have to keep going and doing that. Like once you've done it for one site, since I'm on the same site, I can just boom, boom, boom. Now you know why we say, hey, just go after one vertical, make that vertical own it, right? Because it's so much easier for you to just go through these campaign setups, right? To duplicate. I mean, we're already halfway through the steps, and the only reason it's taken so long is because I'm explaining it, right? Whereas you guys are picking it up pretty quick, so it shouldn't take you very long at all to get in a real groove, right? And again, when you can pay somebody $4, $6, $8 an hour to do this and follow this, you know it's pretty friggin' simple, right? All right, so once we've duplicated our page, we've got the domain, we need to upload all the new keywords to the new campaign if we haven't done that already. In a lot of cases, if you're not using location-based keywords, then you can just duplicate the campaign, that's it, because you don't have any location-based keywords to deal with. So there's a couple of steps here, obviously, that wouldn't make sense if you're doing exactly what we recommend and teach, okay? All right, then what we need to do is we need to add a phone number into CallZoo 2.0, right? We need a new phone number. Why? Because it's a new local area, right? Makes sense. We need a San Antonio number now, a 210. If you're going with a local number, you can still go with a toll-free number, okay? So once you've added in the new phone number to the ads, then we need to pause the campaign. So basically you submit it all for review, you let Google approve it, and then you just pause it right away. Okay, so you kind of keep an eye on it for a couple hours. A little bit of traffic's not going to kill nothing. I mean, you might spend a few bucks, and when I say a few, I mean a few, literally a few. And then once you spent a few, then you can just pause it, and now you know the campaign is ready to go for that client or clients when you get them, right? Yes?
If you leave your business alive, you might get some impressions or whatever. It's not going to break the bank.
It's not going to break the bank. That's exactly right. Especially if you did something like set the budget at $5, right, and then just get it approved. And then, you know, oh, I spent $2. Wah, right? But you got your campaign approved. You're good to go. Yep, absolutely. Okay, so now the campaign is paused. So we want to repeat this process until we have how many ever city clones we want. How many, and I'm just curious, Marlon, I'm just curious, right? How many, I swear I can't get it out of my head, right? I just can't do it. How many, your VAs, your most experienced VA, because I know one's newer than the other, right? How long does it take them to duplicate a campaign into a new city? And I know they're still both kind of green. 30 minutes? Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Huh? Slow internet speeds? Goodness. You hear that? Slow internet speeds. Here. 30 minutes? Oh, sorry. My mic runner is going to run me over.
Does that include getting all the subdomains and redirecting them, or not?
Yeah, the initial setup, yeah.
It's pretty good.
You know, you know why? You know why it only takes 30 minutes? Because he's not using location-based keywords. He was at one point. Remember that? And then he calls me up one day and he goes, "Hey man, we got to get rid of those freaking location-based keywords." I'm like, "I'm telling you, bro, let's do it." And we did it, and that's what made the difference. Yes. What's up, Max?
Hey, so can you quickly touch on the specific reason, like why we don't use location-based keywords?
Absolutely. Okay. And it's not that we don't.
Sure.
We can, but we use them as a last resort, or why I recommend we use them as a last resort. So again, totally up to you what you decide to do. The difference is it's made to be very, very targeted because not everybody types in that into their search when they're doing a local search. Because a lot of people have figured out that when you Google something on your phone, if the location settings are on the phone are on, my phone knows I'm in Thailand. My phone probably knows more about what I'm doing in Thailand than I do myself. I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I'll go there," you know. But that's the point, is that your phone already knows pretty much. So why would I type in Thailand? You know, it's so funny. After typing in the hotel name a few times this week and going to, one second, after typing in the hotel name a couple times this week and the word Bangkok, not even Bangkok, Thailand, or like the country abbreviation TH or anything crazy like that, just Bangkok, before I can even get to Bangkok now, pops up like that on the map suggestions. Google's very, very intelligent. They're like, this guy's been here before. We know where he's within a few miles of a taxi of making that happen. Let's suggest it, and they do. And I'm like, thank you, appreciate that. So yeah, in most cases, people are catching on to the reason that, or the fact that you don't have to do that, and so they're choosing not to. They're just typing in pest control, and then it says, "Oh, you're in Houston, Texas. Let's show you Houston, Texas pest control results." So, but they also, people are more inclined to use things like pest control near me instead of pest control Houston or pest control Houston, Texas. Not that they don't, right? Because obviously, and again, it's a mobile mentality. That's actually a good. I'm going to trademark that. Mobile mentality versus computer-based. Like if you were on the computer, you might type in Houston, right? You're not used to doing that. You're not used to your computer telling you like your mobile phone tells you, at least not yet. They haven't really done anything with that yet. That, hey, here's some suggestions just based on you typing in pest control. They've kind of got that down where they'll do the Google Maps, but it's been so many years of not having that people still are indoctrinated with the mobile. The day smartphones came out, they were able to do that within like a year or two. So it's just a different mindset on what a mobile user goes through in their experience versus that same exact user on a computer or a MacBook, same thing, right? Pretty cool. There was a question back here. Oh, there's one here. Okay.
I think a lot of people have transitioned away from using location-based keywords, but a lot of people still do. So why wouldn't you use both?
You could. The difference is one's going to give you more volume, the other one's extremely targeted and limited. So that's why we use it as last resort, because it's one of those things where you just want to focus on as much volume as you can deliver, as high quality as you can deliver. And then if you want to come back later and do the location-based keywords, then you can do that, right?
Okay,
yeah.
No problem.
Yes, it's definitely not low-hanging fruit though. That's why.
Also, you've got Siri and Cortana. People are talking in some mobile phones what they want. When they talk it in there, it's different to what they would type in there.
Yeah.
I've noticed that in the search terms that people are, when I'm looking at that, it's completely different.
See? Search terms come up completely different from what you say into your phone, from what you type into your desktop or type into your phone even. It's crazy. People talk to their phones now. I mean, if you look at a lot of I joke about this all the time, but if you look at some of the search terms, you'll actually see somebody spoken to their phone, okay, Google, because Google is teaching people with a multi-million dollar campaign to say, okay, Google, right? And matter of fact, I was on a webinar once. I was on a coaching call, maybe the last one or the one before that. And I said, basically, you're going to go to Google and say, okay, Google, and my phone lit up and started going nutballs on me because I said, okay, Google, and I'm like, no. I'm like, cancel. And, like, I'm in the middle of a coaching call, and my phone's doing all this. I was freaked out. Anyway, you guys didn't know that because I didn't I didn't let on, but yeah. Okay, so that's the process. There's a PDF of that. I can get you guys access to that too inside the Facebook group. Yes, sir.
The process. Don't you need to also make a new conversion instead of using the old one?
It depends. You can use the old. Well, you can use the old conversion. You can use the same conversion for a different campaign if the duration is at 0 or like the same duration. So I don't use duration, so I always set it at like 0 or 1.
Then if you have 2 campaigns, don't you see? If you have one call coming in that convert, doesn't it add up on both? No?
Nope. It's all by the campaign. You can see it all by the campaign, even by the ad group and keyword. Yeah. Good question, though. Thank you. Yes, sir, in the back.
Just a quick one, Nathan. I'm not going through the PPC module yet. I'm still in the SEO, but
no worries.
I just was listening to your vertical there, where you're saying like if you went into one niche, go right through.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, obviously, if you're going into that vertical, you want to get as much of the volume which is there. So if you were going for your generic versus the local ones, is there a certain point which you recommend coming back to the lower hanging?
Yeah, it depends on the area, but just as a range, it's a range. It's going to be different for every area you step into. Houston wouldn't be the same as a smaller city, whatever a smaller city is, right, that everybody would know, right? It depends on the size of the city. It depends on the volume coming from that city. But to give you a range, you're looking at dialing a campaign in somewhere probably 6 to 9 months before you'd ever want to consider coming back and doing the local, because it's just so easy, so much low-hanging fruit. And with all the stuff we're about to drop on you today, like what's coming down the road, this is going to be the last thing on your mind. You'll be like, I'm not even touching location-based keywords because I don't need to. That's what we want to do. Thank you for that question. It's a good question.
Mate, just a question so I've got it clear in my mind. So we're moving from one campaign to the next and we're replicating it.
Yeah.
With a new area, we don't know what's going to convert here. So in my previous campaign, I've got my general campaign, then I've got my search term, which is my winners. But I've taken my winners out of the general campaign. So I'm going to copy that across. Now I've got the same setup here. But I'm in a new area that I don't know if they're going to convert. So are you saying that in relation to the setup, I'm coming across with my remaining generals that haven't proven themselves and the new ones that haven't proven, plus my search terms, and having them in the same setup in the new city despite the fact they haven't proven themselves here? Because my understanding is, or my mindset would be, new area, they need to prove themselves again for a second time in a brand new location.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll give you an example of how that translates. I would not take a campaign from Houston, Texas, dialed in for pest control, and go to Melbourne. How do you say it? Where's Steve at? Melbourne. I don't even say it like that. Anyway, you get the idea, though. I wouldn't take it halfway around the world. What I would do is I would go Houston, and I'd go San Antonio, Dallas, right? Cities that are in Texas, that are big, but close enough to where it's most likely the same language for the region. And if you don't know anything about the U.S. as far as the regions, like you've got people that say Melbourne, right? And then you got people that say it right, Melbourne. And then you've got people that say, what the hell's a Melbourne, right? That's like California and all that out there. I'm just kidding, but you get the idea. Like there's the northern, there's the southern, there's the Midwest, there's the Southwest, and just Northwest, like West. Right, West and Northwest. It's all different. Someone was saying in a plumbing campaign, they're like, they didn't know they were from Canada, and they're like, William, what's a commode? Actually, he said, I'm sorry, he didn't say commode. He said, what's a commode? And I said, a commode. I said, well, what do you mean? What's a commode? And he goes, in my campaign, somebody typed in broken commode, and I said, "Oh, commode," because I knew he was running plumbing. And then after we laughed about it, we talked about the fact that in the South, commode is a thing. It's what we call a toilet sometimes, right? And then it's like, what else can you call a commode or a toilet in the States specifically? I know you guys say loo, right? You guys
We
loo?
say shitter.
You say shitter? Shitter. I've heard of John. I've heard of the John. I've heard of loo. So it just depends on the area. What? A dunny? A dunny. Okay. But you guys get it, right? Like it's just totally, and so some of that language is going to be different. But I'll tell you this, toilet here in Thailand, that's how you tell people bathroom in English, right? Toilet. We experienced that like with our driver. He didn't understand what bathroom was, right? He didn't understand what restroom was. Like, what's a restroom? You know, is that where you lay down and just, you know what I mean? Like, what is that? And we're like, no, man, like where you take care of business. And he's, oh, toilet. And I'm like, oh, okay, toilet. Okay, that's what they call it. And I look at the signs, toilet in English. It's crazy, right? But that's in Thailand. All right, that's in Thailand. In the States, in the South, it could be toilet, it could be commode. But the cool thing is that toilet's going to be pretty universal, right? I mean, people understand what a toilet is, or restroom, bathroom. A sink is a sink. There's probably some nicknames. You crazy Brits have nicknames for everything. There's probably a nickname for a sink, but a sink is a sink, right? So that, where it gets interesting is in the States, a ceramic sink, that's specific. And ceramic sinks are sold nationwide, right? So you're always going to find that. So that's how that works, where you clear your bid adjustments and everything, yes. So you're going to lose that for a bit, but you have to have it that way so that you can dial in on the right zip codes and the right counties and the right suburbs for that new area, so you can really dial it in. But that doesn't mean you can't be profitable out of the gate, right, Marlon? He copy pastes into a city, several $100s profit in the first month just off the copy paste. Then he starts dialing it in, and it just grows from there. You know, and his lead volume at the same time, once he's dialed in with those same bid adjustments, it's just a wash, rinse, repeat process. Once he's got that process down, he starts scaling the call volume. And so now there's more revenue coming in from that city, to where each city should be, for his vertical, somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 a month on a decent sized city. Bigger city, probably more. Any other questions? Miss?
Wash face.
Sorry?
Wash face. That's what we call
Wash
sink.
face, that's what you call sink. I knew you guys had a nickname for it. Face bowl? Face bowl in this? Yeah. All right, face bowl. Okay, cool. All right, Q&A, we're good. WordStream overview. All right, so here's the deal. We got like one slide, and then I'm going to come back to the screen. So why use WordStream done for you? A lot of you weren't on the coaching calls. First off, let me explain what WordStream done for you is, because a lot of you SEOers are like, what is a WordStream and why is it done for me? WordStream is a platform that's web-based, and it manages PPC accounts, so paid advertising. Okay, it's a paid advertising platform, helps manage and optimize and run your campaigns for you. Okay, now the done for you comes because WordStream actually does not do a done for you. They expect you to run the software, and while it is a software and it is semi-automated, you have to be the one to run it, right? That's where we come in. And I say we, I mean Callzoo Ads. We have a done-for-you solution where all your campaigns are managed for you. All you got to do is submit a form. Can anybody tell me where the form is? Page 8, or part 8. Yeah, part 8. You guys got it at the bottom of the part 8, right? There's a direct link to the WordStream form. All right, so why use done-for-you WordStream now that you know what it can do? Number one, it's hands-free optimization and scaling. It's still important, though, for you to learn how to optimize. Do not think this is a get out of optimize free card. Okay? Jail free, yeah. Optimize free card. It's not. You need to know how to do the dimensions data and read it and understand it. Look at your search lost is. Search lost is because of rank and budget, search impression share, right? Those are all very important things you need to know how to do because WordStream does not manage those. Nobody does. So it's one of those things you're just going to have to look at from time to time, okay? The cool thing is that stuff is not hard to read. Once you know how to read it, you know how to read it, right? Like, for example, search impression share. Who can tell me, raise your hand, show of hand, who can tell me what search impression share is? Scott, Max.
Search impression share is how often your ad is shown and potentially could be shown.
Exactly. How often the ad could be shown versus how often it actually is shown. So if it's 20% impression share, is that good or bad? Well, it's not great. Yeah, it's bad. We want it ideally where? 80 plus. 80 plus. She got it. Merritt got it. Okay, good. All right, so, a couple other things. Number, it frees up more time for you to get more clients and run your business. So you don't have to manage as much, right? It takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, especially if we're doing it for you. And then it is, in our opinion, and a lot of people's opinion that run pay-per-click campaigns, the top automated way to improve your campaign performance. It can think better in most cases than me on my best day because it's a machine, dude. And so it may not run dimensions, and I've got it on dimensions, but what it does do is help optimize your campaign through bids, through negative keywords, through new keyword ideas, all the stuff I teach you how to do on like coming up with new keyword ideas. This thing does it for you. But I still want you to know how to come up with new keyword ideas because you might come up with something that WordStream doesn't come up with, right? Because after all, it is a machine. So it does things really well, but it'll walk into a wall if you don't turn it, right? You got to turn it so it'll. Yes, Chris Weiss.
As you know, I've had a few problems getting my head around this done for you, WordStream malarkey. Things like when it's adding new keywords, we have to just go and find those in the account history, or is there a place they could?
Yeah, it's under
to make it easier to find them.
It's under keywords, the keywords tab under a campaign, and then after you logged into keywords, it's search terms.
That's what the history is, yeah.
Well, that's what people have typed in.
If the done-for-you system produces a new keyword, we obviously need to go and produce an ad group for it and everything else. Yeah?
Oh, no. WordStream does that for you.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay. And bid adjustments. I saw the other day it will do bid adjustments.
Say again?
You're saying it definitely does bid adjustments for us. I'm getting conflicting information from the questions I asked.
It does bids, increases, not bid adjustments.
Oh, okay.
So it'll say, hey, and it'll also do bid decreases. So it's like, hey, you're spending $3, you should be spending $2. All right, cool. I'll lower it to $2. Yeah, sure. Why not? Right? I mean, that's the optimization that's done on the back end, but not bid adjustments. You need to do the bid adjustments.
So we set the starting level, and it will tweak.
It'll figure it from there.
And again, we check the history to see what's been done for that, or how to.
The history is going to be for our staff members. You're not going to have access to it, unfortunately.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I say. We have to look in the history every day just to see if anything's happened in the last few days.
Oh, in the Google AdWords history. Yes.
Yeah, in that history,
yes. Absolutely. Got to look in the Google AdWords history. But yes, you can do that.
And will you touch on, I've asked this question as well before, but an example of the report, because obviously we can't get the report from AdWords from WordStream anymore.
Yeah.
I'm a bit stuck at ideas how to put together a monthly report.
I would pull from Callsy 2.0.
And just show the stats of what's come through, good calls, bad calls.
Yes.
Anything else to add to that? Can't really grab the successful keywords so easily.
Yeah, I would maybe grab the top 5 and just throw them in a list real quick.
So these are 5 most active keywords. Here's the plus good calls, bad calls. So show them what we teach them in the fulfillment, the client keeping.
Yes, but I wouldn't necessarily I wouldn't label it the 5 most
best keywords.
Right, profitable keywords. I would say these are the 5 keywords that are driving the most, that the most of the calls are driven for.
Right.
And then ask a question. which of these 5 makes you the most money, Mr. Client?
Gotcha. That works.
How many questions do you think they get like that from your competition? None, right? They've never been asked that before, I promise you. They're struggling to get. Yeah, so on the report we were talking about, you would list out the 5 keywords that drove the most phone calls for them, right? And then you would ask a question underneath that in the report. Hey, which one of these 5 keywords drives the most money for you? Which one do you make the most margin or profit off of? That's a hell of a question, by the way. All right, and then long term saves you and makes you a lot of money. Buku bucks. All right. All right, so let's take a peek. Yes. The done for you is included. Yes, sir. Yep, and you're an ads member, so yeah.
So right now you told, suppose it's a different client, and if I'm trying to pitch to him, I can take his Google, his ID, and insert it and check his campaign.
You can't check the campaign because you don't have access to WordStream. We have access to WordStream. So the deal is on WordStream, we originally had it set up so that WordStream would let us log into the account. I would allow everyone to be able to log into their own accounts and add them at will, and we would just approve them. But that's against their terms of service for their agency account. They're very strict on that because they feel like they're going to lose a lot of money doing it that way. And so we said, okay, cool. Well, what do you guys allow? And they said, well, 2 options, 2 ways we can do this. We can do screen sharing. I was like, ugh. Because not only do you guys still have to deal with the learning curve, but now I've got support staff on the other end doing it too. And I'm like, well, shit, the other option was support staff just does it for you. We just hire and train people, and there's a ton of people that know already about WordStream that run hundreds of thousands of dollars that are running your campaigns right now, which is kind of cool because, where else are you going to find that? WordStream doesn't offer you that kind of jump start, if you will, right? That might make you feel a little bit better about who's managing your campaigns too. It's like, oh snap, okay. Yes, Dane in the back from Hawaii.
What's up?
What's up?
Dane from Hawaii here. Quick question for you. How do you know when your campaign is ready to get taken to the WordStream done for you service? What would you recommend?
I would recommend you do it right out of the gate. So as soon as your campaign goes live, if you're going to do done for you WordStream, oh shit would be a bad response. It's okay if you haven't done it yet. It's not like you're missing the boat, but if after hearing that you don't go and do it, then yeah, you're missing the boat. You know what I mean? So yeah, good question. I appreciate you asking that question. It's good. It's important you ask that. Yes. Chris. You guys are, Aiden's like burning 1,000 calories an hour.
1 kg. Will the done for you pick up new campaigns as we add them automatically, or do we have to fill in the form?
You need to fill in the form so that our guy knows
that we've added more,
that you want it managed. It does show.
He shows it, but leaves it
but
on.
We're not going to touch it. We're not like that. We wouldn't do that to you. No. We're only going to manage what you submit the form to. Absolutely. And if you tell us to stop managing, Dane's got another question, Aiden. He's just messing. Okay. I got to buy that guy a beer tonight. Man, he's done a good job. Yes, sir. Nathan.
Yeah. Again, I'm not at this point yet, but I was just wondering, with WordStream, it is a paid service software, is it?
Yes, yeah, it's a paid service.
Is there
a
certain
paid service?
Yep. Do you recommend that there's a certain point that we get to with our PPC where we'd look to implement that?
Oh, for yourself?
Yeah, like where we bring that back in, like if you were starting a module, or
you can
a metric to sort of target when you'd implement that, or.
I would say whenever it, I don't know. That's like saying, tell me when you want me to take on the added responsibility when I don't have to.
But it's in It's included in the
It's included.
in the calls to ads. That's something.
He's asking when to scale. Oh, are you asking if it's included? It's included. Yeah, it's included. There is no when to scale. It's already there. Like, and you can start it as soon as your campaign is already live, right? Unless you missed the boat. He's like, no, get that thing away from me. Oh. Okay, cool. So let's take a peek at WordStream then real quick. I'm going to jump on the screen here. Log in real quick. Boom. Of course. All right. There we go. All right, so you guys won't ever have to see any of this. You don't have to worry about it. Where's it at? See all those green check marks? Means it's been managed. Isn't that nice? Once a week, 20-minute work week. All right. So I'm going to click on 20-minute work week just to show you. Said it was managed. I hope it's got some stuff I can show you. I hope. I haven't actually touched this campaign. Somebody managed my campaign and I didn't want them to. That's funny. That makes sense. I'll have to tell my support staff to not do that. But basically, all those negative keywords I was telling you about, all the new keywords that you can add, new keyword ideas. You can review how much it's costing you, how much you're saving, how much you're spending, the anticipated growth. It's pretty interesting what we can see and do for you just in 20 minutes of work a week for your account, your whole account. It's pretty cool. I don't really have anything to show you outside of. I was just going to show you a couple of things of how that's done. But I actually have shown you this in a coaching call, so that is covered in the membership. And for those of you who are SEO, you're probably like, thank God I don't want to see this anyway. If you're not doing ads, right? Any questions about WordStream? Because I know we already kind of started in the Q&A. Yes, sir. What's your name?
Jens.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is it only working in English language or?
Yeah, it's English only for now. English only for now. Good question. Only works in the English language for now. And Australia, someone says. That was not my joke. Someone else made that joke. No other questions? WordStream? WordStream? Bueller? Oh, look, we're coming up on the client engagement sequence. This is a good one. I should take this show to Melbourne. You guys, no questions? Okay, cool. I'm good with it too. What time we got? How we doing on time, folks? Anybody need a break? Somebody's brain melting? Yeah, break time. How long are we taking? Hard 5? Hard 10. That's my favorite number in craps. I'm just kidding. Not just me.